The M4 Sherman was the most widely used medium tank by the US in World War II, bearing the proud name of William Tecumseh Sherman, a politician and a general most known for his scorched earth policies on which he relied during the war against the Confederate States. Let's get back to the tank, though. It was used on every front involving American troops and distributed in great numbers to the Allies through the Lend-Lease program. On the other hand, when a vehicle sees such a widespread use, it's bound to be captured by someone at some point. That's why tanks of the Sherman family are found in the tech trees of literally every nation in the game, making it one of the truly international vehicles of War Thunder. That's, of course, without mentioning countless variants and modifications. So, are you ready? Let's go. We start with the country which created the Sherman tank. There are 10 unique modifications of Shermans in the American tech tree, based around 4 different hull variations as outfitted with different armaments and equipment. American Shermans come with all sorts of guns, turrets, armor configurations, even with rockets for goodness sake. Despite countless differences, most American Shermans have a vertical stabilizer, a distinctive 12.7mm machine gun on top of the commander's cupola with excellent elevation and depression angles. The M4, one of the earliest modifications. Its welded RHA armor can take quite a lot of punishment on its BR. A gas-powered radial engine makes it spry enough to keep up with Allied vehicles, and a powerful 75mm gun can often dispose of its main opponents with a single, well-placed shot. The M4A1. It has the same M3 cannon, the same radial engine, but a cast hull configuration. The armor features decent slope angles, but there are a few weak spots. This tank is also as mobile as the standard M4, making it a pretty decent pick overall. The M4A2. It comes with a welded front glacis, eliminating the weak spots previously present in the general area of the UFP, but its armor is sloped at slightly less favorable degrees. The M4A2 also got a new engine, or more precisely, the General Motors 6046 double engine, raising its max speed by 10 kph. It also gets access to a shiny new APCR round. The M4A3 105. A very interesting adaptation, almost a tank destroyer. It comes with a slightly modified hull, an HVSS suspension system, a more powerful 4GAA engine, and a 105mm howitzer instead of a conventional cannon. It has a slightly slower max speed, but is still very mobile. The massive howitzer doesn't permit the use of a stabilizer, and its turret traverse is rather slow. But you get HE shells with more than 2 kilograms of explosive filler. Totally worth it. That's it for all major hull modifications. At this point, the team behind the Sherman family shifted the focus to giving their tanks more firepower and armor. The M4A3 Jumbo and its premium variation, the Cobra King. Basically, it's a heavily armored M4A3 primed for the role of a breakthrough tank. It had an additional 38mm of armor plate welded to its upper hull, front and sides, a better protected engine compartment, and a sturdier turret. All in all, it turned into a real heavy tank. It is so well protected that most enemies will have difficulties penetrating its defenses. At the same time, it was fitted with a gun clearly lacking penetration against other heavy tanks. The very first engagements that the Jumbo took part in demonstrated that this 75mm cannon did not provide enough firepower to effectively deal with opponents at hand. Soon, Jumbos were upgunned to 76mm using M1 cannons that could fire M62 rounds, which were featured on our list as the best rounds in the game, by the way. With the new gun came the need for a new turret, creating a new generation of Sherman versions, easily recognized by the added 76 in their designations. A new gun allowed those tanks to deal with heavier armors, and for the most troublesome of enemies, there was always a handy sub-caliber round. At that point, armor was no longer a priority. From then on, Shermans filled the niche of mobile tanks with decent firepower, with the Jumbo being the only exception. Of course, we simply have to mention the Sherman Calliope. This unique model is armed with M8 rockets, a fearsome weapon at its BR. Phew. That's it for the American tree. Now let's take a gander at all the heavily modified developments and Lend-Lease versions found in the tech trees of other nations. The PZ KPFW M4 748A. The Wehrmacht captured a lot of Allied vehicles, including Sherman tanks. The German version has a different camo and a vastly different set of enemies to fight, including other Shermans. The M4A3 76W. That's a Lend-Lease M4 Sherman, coming with a different camo and lacking smoke rounds. This model was heavily imported to the USSR. Soviet tankers appreciated that it had a diesel engine, meaning that it used fuel that was readily available instead of high-quality petrol. In the game, it makes for an excellent premium vehicle, a great choice if you want to spice up your Soviet ground battles gameplay. The Sherman II, a slightly upgraded version of the M4A1 with an armored roof and a nifty sub-caliber round. The Sherman Firefly and its premium version, the Firefly Scorpion. The British M4 got a new gun, a powerful 17-pounder, allowing it to easily penetrate the face armor of most enemies. A new gun meant a lot of changes to the design of the tank. The Fireflyer has a different mantlet. The radio was moved to an armored box welded to the turret rear. Finally, its crew had to lose the radio operator gunner along with his machine gun. The place where he sat was filled with ammo. The M4A3 76W. This is not a captured vehicle. These tanks were simply imported from the US after the war. It has a new camo, and that's all actually. The M4 Tipo 1C. It's the Italian Sherman 1C Firefly with the so-called composite hull, a unique variant with a cast front but otherwise welded hull, armed with a British 17-pounder. A very interesting vehicle indeed. The M4A1 and the M4A3E2, Lend-Lease models without any modifications whatsoever. The M4A4 SA-50. This tank is a result of the Israeli joint venture with France to up-arm their existing Sherman inventory. It was given the 75mm SA-50 gun from the AMX-13 light tank, and also added the name Super in the designation due to the fact that it was fitted with the HVSS suspension system. The M4A1 FL-10. A heavily modified M4 Sherman borrowing from the design of the French AMX-13 light tank. Its main selling points are a fast 5-second reload and an oscillating turret. Yeah, that's the French we're talking about after all. And that's it. Well, most of it anyway. After all, we haven't mentioned SPGs designed around the Sherman chassis, and there were lots of them. And didn't speak about countless ad hoc modifications or Shermans as armored recovery vehicles or armored ambulances. It is truly one of the most widely used and popular tanks in history. It was reliable, simple to use, and versatile, making it a very welcome addition to the ground forces of many armies of the world, and also giving it dozens of spots in War Thunder tech trees. Do you have a favorite Sherman adaptation? Tell us please in the comments below.